Hello.
We are back.
Yes.
And today we are talking about a very special topic. The movie we just saw a little while ago.
The movie we just saw 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Ish.
Yeah, we're a little late on this podcast, but we wanted to give people time to have seen the movie before we start completely tearing it apart.
Yeah, it's on digital now, so I feel like that's a safe time frame. I definitely you watched it too. I definitely watched it again. Now that it's on digital to verify a couple of my theories that I have now updated in our breakdown, because we watched it once and there are a couple things where I was like, how did that play out again? So I definitely went back and looked at that. But we've talked about Scream 1 through 6, so we figured we went to a special pre-fan screening of Scream 7, and we figured we should just continue that tradition and also say our thoughts on 7, and we have some.
This was one we were in full anticipation of, and we had a lot of thoughts going into it, and then some of our thoughts changed and our opinions changed and
our lives changed.
We need to talk about it. But I guess we should probably also say hi. We're
the quality control chicks. I was going to throw that in there.
Wait, let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Take 2.
Hello. We are the quality control chicks.
Yay.
I'm Janae.
I'm Lisa.
And here we're going to talk to you about some fun kind of issues.
Some Scream.
With Scream.
Bringing back the Scream.
7.
This is going to be, there's definitely QC involved in this, obviously. It's also going to be a rant. So get ready for that.
It's like our rant stems from our issues with some of the QC, some issues with just not tracking some things and, caring about the fans as much as they probably should have.
Yeah.
And obviously some really kind of bad aura around the film. I think we can start off with that.
Well, before we start off with that.
Oh, you want to talk about what we've seen recently?
Well, there's been a lot that we've seen between the last time I recorded,
okay.
But we both binged with our husbands the new episodes of The Boys that just came out. So if there's anything we want to talk about that isn't, by the time this comes out, more episodes will be out. Let's be careful about spoilers, but we'll say spoilers if we reach that.
I offer oblivion.
At the end of the last season, we discover that Kimiko is able to start talking. She says her first word. This new season kind of right away delves into the fact that she is now working on speaking and she's talking a lot more. Yeah. So I think it's really not too much of a spoiler.
If you're caught up until season 5, it's not a spoiler that she talks because it happens like in the last scene of the season 4 finale. So
So I think for me, like, if we're talking about QC stuff with the show, like, I found it really funny because watching it, with having so many seasons where this character doesn't talk, and then suddenly they're talking, it's jarring. It's so jarring.
Oh, wow. Your skin is so oily, like hugging a McRib. Did you just... How? Fucking speech therapy and fucking therapy.
I love that actress. She's like the sweetest human on earth.
I met her at a Comic-Con and she signed one of my pictures.
Yeah.
One of my pictures. I didn't have anything for her to sign, so they just have tables with pictures you can choose from. So I did that. And I got to talk with her like super briefly and she was super, super nice. So
yeah, I love her. I was like really excited for the moment when she would finally start talking because like I think she's just adorable. So I was like anticipating this moment and I was like ready for it. However, it's like it was so jarring because like she kind of starts off in like super fast, like go, like she's just like speed talking into like the scene and you're like, whoa, this is so weird. And something about it felt like I don't know, to me, it felt ADR.
I think the whole first episode, my theory about it, and I know you said you have one too, my theory is I think they wanted to change her performance of the first episode, where I think they wanted her to be a little bit more like animated with the way that she was talking, because her face is still emoting like very much like normal Kimiko, but her voice is a little more like, as she puts it, she's learning from like TikTok and stuff like that. So it's a little more like, you know, animated, I guess. And I think
very Gen Z.
Yeah, I think they wanted to play that up when they were cutting. Again, this is all my theory. I have no idea. But I don't think there was anything wrong with the way the lines were initially recorded. That's why, because we've said before with ADR, like it's a myriad of reasons why you might need to call ADR for something. I have a feeling in this instance it was performance-based, because she chills out a little bit by episode 2. They released the first 2 episodes on Prime. Episode 2 didn't get that impression as much with the ADR, maybe a couple of lines. And this is Kimiko specifically. Like, I'm sure they did ADR for other lines. Like, even Chase Crawford was talking about doing ADR for certain scenes. You can't really tell, though. With Kimiko, you can really tell in episode 1. And I think that's why. I think they wanted her to up the performance a little bit. And they were like, that's the only way we can do it, is just re-recording all of the sparse lines she has in the first episode.
Yeah. What's funny is, like, so my theory is actually more of a, like, I guess, psychological, that I think it felt ADR to me because we're so not used to hearing her speak. And it was so jarring and so out of character for what you think she would, like, the way she would sound and act, that we felt it was ADR. I would love to find out if that scene actually is. Yeah. But I was talking about it with Harrison as we were watching, and we were like, that felt ADR, but I'm not entirely sure if it was.
I think it was, because the tonality of the recording was different. And Jack, you can speak to this a little bit if you want, or if you're paying attention. The tonality of the recording sounded different.
That's what I thought too, but that's why I was like, is it that, or is it just like this voice comes in and it's suddenly like, because I think I like didn't expect her to be talking right away in episode 1. Like, it was so
well, she wasn't. The first
like,
scene we see her, she's still doing her like signing with that kid in the Philippines.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I guess I thought like it was going to be kind of this slow into like speaking. And so like when she just started talking, it was like so fast and so quick. It was like I needed to go back and like, even like start over her scene again to be like, wait, what? What did she say? Like, holy shit.
I think because it was the whole first episode felt like that to me, and then the second episode
it was very fast. Very fast paced.
I think they re-recorded just for the first episode, personally. And I think it was to change the performance, because by episode 2, and just speaking not from the performance aspect, just from the sound of the dialogue, sounded more of the environment of the rest of the characters in the second episode, whereas the first one sounded like it was recorded in a booth. But yeah, I'd be curious if we know anyone who worked in
I think that's
on that aspect of post.
I wish I knew if it for sure was ADR, but I definitely had the same thought. And it's funny that we both thought the same thing.
Yeah, immediately Jack and I were like,
yeah.
Because some of the sync felt off too. It wasn't just the intonation or the quality. We're just like, I don't think, cause she's clearly saying the same thing. That's why I think it was for performance.
Yeah.
She's clearly saying what she's saying, but I think the delivery is different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Although I need to watch Gen V.
Are you not caught up on season 2?
No.
Oh my God.
I know. They even reference it.
I literally had to tell people who weren't watching it at all. And I was like, they do a good job of keeping them separate but together. But especially because Marie comes into this season.
I know.
You really got to watch
We're gonna binge all of it before the next episode comes out.
It was also really good, but I did predict a huge plot twist. Like very early on in season 2, and Jack was like, "You better not be right," and I was, but I won't say what it was because you haven't seen it. But I was like, "Oh, I bet it's this," and I was like, "I still feel like it's this," and they were like really deflecting with other things, and I was like, "Guys, we haven't come back to this thing that happened."
Yeah, I know I need to binge it. before, because I feel like the first 2 episodes, I was a bit worried. I'm like, Emma, is it going to be really bad that I didn't watch it? But I think I kind of knew because I did kind of know a little bit, obviously.
We're gonna get into that.
Well, okay, maybe we should. Maybe we should.
We have some insider knowledge, but not enough about the things that we just talked about to confirm anything. But we do have some insider intel.
Yeah.
On certain aspects of that franchise.
Technically, I could talk about it.
I don't work there anymore. I can always cut this.
I am not going to be working there very soon.
We're not bad mouthing anybody. We're just saying we worked on it.
No, and I'm also not going to tell any spoilers. But I've worked on The Boys. And
we both worked on The Boys. Okay, now.
Well, I mean, the most recent season.
Well, you also worked a bit on season 3, but we both worked on season 4 together.
Yeah.
Yes. And Gen V season 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I knew how important it would be to watch the second season of Gen V, but time, I don't even know, it crept up so fast. I'm like, oh wow, okay. We're here now. So I'm gonna officially binge through Gen V so that I can be ready for the next one. Because I have a feeling as we go through the rest of the season, it will be very important.
With the way that season 2, with the way that episode 2 ended, I think we're really going to gear up the rest of the Gen V tie-in and what I'm most excited for, the Supernatural reunion. So
yeah,
because there's certain things that happen. I was like, but we haven't seen the Supernatural reunion yet, and I know that's still coming. They wouldn't tease it if it wasn't happening. So. No, that show was my childhood, and I'm so excited for them all to be on screen together again. We already got Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He didn't overlap with Jensen at all, but they were in the same season together. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's scenes were all with Butcher.
Yeah.
But that was still fun to see him. Oh, and Jim Beaver is in it. He hasn't been in this season yet. I forget what happened to his character. Maybe he died. There's a lot of characters in these shows. Robert Singer is his character's name.
The guy who splits his body.
No, he doesn't have a superpower. He's not a soup.
Oh, I'm thinking of, so in the last season, Splinter.
He was also from Supernatural.
He's also in Supernatural.
Yeah, no, not him. I forgot about him.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
They're sprinkled in there. The fun fact, though, I'm going to nerd out about Supernatural for a sec, and then I swear we'll circle back to Scream, because I can talk about that forever, too. So Supernatural, so Jim Beaver, who I've met, I will put a picture of him and I on screen. I've met a lot of the cast of Supernatural. So his name in The Boys is Robert Singer. He's a politician, not a soup.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And his name in Supernatural is Bobby Singer. So he basically he's not playing the same character, but he's playing a character with the same name.
Little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which made me giggle when I saw that, and I had to explain to Jack. I was like, oh, it's because it's the same.
Nice.
It's the same as Supernatural. You'll understand.
Cute. Little fangirl over here. Okay.
Oh my God, I've said before, but because now we've mentioned that we both worked on The Boys collectively on the previous season 4. But if I could tell 12-year-old me that I'd be working on a show that Eric Kripke made in my early 30s, late 20s, I would not believe it. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Honestly, out of anything I've worked on, it's definitely been one of my biggest highlights is working on that show. It was so fun. The energy was great. And to talk about the weirdest things you're seeing on your screen with your family is the cherry on top.
When the trailer releases and you see a shot of Kimiko and Frenchie opening a door and reacting to something, but not showing what they're reacting to, and me turning to Jack, who didn't know anything because I wasn't going to tell him anything. And I was like, I know what they're reacting to, and I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah.
Was pretty good.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
But I also love the way they give you scenes too. Obviously it's for secrecy purposes, and even the cast and crew can't say anything. But they only give you just the chunk of stuff you're working, literally just the chunk you're working on.
Yeah,
which is good for fans of the show, because then I only see what I need to see.
Yeah, I would only get small fractions. So as someone who also liked to watch the show that I was working on, it was really nice for me because I felt like I wasn't completely spoiled to the entire show.
Yeah.
And I could still really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I tried really hard because like I work, well, we were both working from home, but my office is in our living room. So I tried very hard. Like if Jack came home and wanted to like be in the living room, I'd be like, no, I'm working on Boys, get out of here. Or no, I'm working on Gen V, get out of here.
Yeah.
Because I knew he didn't want to see anything and I didn't want to spoil anything. And I wasn't allowed to spoil anything either, but I also didn't want to. So I'm not going to be posting pictures online of like screenshots of what I'm working on. I've absolutely gotten fired.
Yeah. No.
And I'm not going to do that to people. I hate people who purposely spoil things. Yeah. People should go to hell.
I agree. All right, we're going to get to it. So the reason we're here, obviously, we're both wearing our shirts.
Well, Janae's wearing another one of my shirts.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. I don't have any. I have a pair of earrings, Scream
which
related,
you could have worn, but you wouldn't see them under them.
And they would hurt if I wore them under these. So
yeah,
I am stealing a shirt. One day I will get a cool Scream shirt.
Mm-hmm. I could have gotten you one for your birthday.
Like, I had to like thrift it. Like it has to be that perfect moment where I've gone to the thrift store and I'm like, oh my God, it's a thrift. Like it's one of mine thrift shirt.
No, two of mine are thrifted.
Yeah.
The one you usually wear is thrifted. And I have a white one that I brought today as an option that it says G is for Ghostface on it. And it's got Ghostface like covering a woman's eyes.
Yeah.
That one's also thrifted. These are from Spirit Halloween. But this one glows in the dark and has some fun graphics on the back. Cool. So
yeah, I will find one. It will be the perfect moment. It will be how the universe wanted it to be.
Exactly.
It'll happen. One day I'll find one.
Yeah, I believe in you.
However, I will not wear one with this movie.
No.
Okay, so let's get to it. We can talk about that bad aura right away.
Yeah, we got to clear the bad aura. Well, it's never going to be cleared. That's Spyglass's fault. But we got to get it out of the way of the discussion because it is worth noting. And it does sort of impact the way that this film even happened. Because originally, obviously, Melissa Barrera was supposed to... It was supposed to be a trilogy. She was supposed to be in this one. And Spyglass... we've talked about it before, but she got fired for standing up for Palestine.
Yeah, they completely twisted all of it.
Yeah.
And basically blatantly lied about why they fired her. And with that, Jenna Ortega also was like, well, that's bullshit. And then she also left the film.
She originally said it was because of scheduling issues with Wednesday. And then once the dust had settled a little bit, she was like, no, I just wasn't going to do this without Melissa. So any script, and apparently there was an outline, and we'll get to that, that was going to come to fruition with or without the team that came on board, didn't, they had to start over. And I think it's worth noting, too, before we get into what the original plan for the film was, because it is interesting. I would have liked to have seen this. There was the original lineup. So Radio Silence was always going to leave because they were doing Abigail, which Melissa Barrera also hopped over to do, which I think was also always the plan. But they could focus more on it now that they weren't involved in the seventh film. And so Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky and Happy Death Day, I believe, was set to take over directing, which I think I liked both of those movies. Yeah. Actually, I've only seen the second Happy Death Day, which is funny because it's like a Groundhog Day movie. So like, how do you make a sequel? Because it's still always the same day.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the second one.
That one's the only one that's on streaming.
Oh, interesting.
So I watched a recap of the first movie and then watched the second one. But I really liked Freaky. That was fun. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Catherine Newton and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. I watched that on Netflix, I think, once. Yeah.
I liked it. So I was like, oh, that sounds like a good choice for a Scream movie. And then he started getting death threats because he stayed on the project after... Like, he and his family were getting death threats because he stayed on the movie after Melissa Barrera was fired. So he left. And then they really had to start over from scratch. But before that, before he left, before Melissa was fired, and before Jenna Ortega dipped because they fired Melissa Barrera, the original plan for Scream 7, allegedly, was to actually have Melissa Barrera kill... or become a Ghostface and kill Tara in the beginning.
Yeah.
like she would be the actual opening kill. She would actually die this time.
Yeah.
And that would trigger a Ghostface would kill Tara. That would trigger her to become a Ghostface, and then Sydney would ultimately kill Sam.
Yeah.
Is the gist of what I've heard.
They were really pulling on the whole, like, Billy actually being her father and, like, her becoming a Ghostface and then it being between them.
Yeah. Bringing back Sydney more into the story, but not being focused on her entirely. It would be what I think would be, like, level pegging between the two.
Yeah.
But all of that got thrown out the window when Chris Landon left after the firing and all of that shit. And then we ended up with this. We ended up with Kevin Williamson's ego project.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This had the potential to be a good film. Okay. I think there were directions they could have gone if they were going to have the clean slate and not have Sam as the, like, continuing on with that. If we're going to start over, just like in any, horror series, you can either continue going with that, like, the same group, how you have, like, the mains, and then they seem to be trying to do, like, a same thing where they were like, okay, we've got Sydney, this and that for the 3 movies, and we've got another, and then now we're going to move on to Sam. And then when she was gone, they had an opportunity to kind of really go back to their kind of original, and also to bring on the original, writer. They did. And they had this opportunity to completely say, we're going back to ground one and for the fans, essentially. And there could have been a good movie in there, unfortunately.
It should have been for the fans, and I think that's a huge part of the problem. Is it was for Kevin Williamson, right? It turned into a vanity project just so he could have a film by Kevin Williamson put in the credits. I wholeheartedly believe that. I don't know if you're on the same page with that, but it's like he came back to write, and then Neve Campbell came on as a producer, and allegedly she was the one who called him and was like, "Do you want to direct the Scream movie?" And he was like, "Absolutely," and it's something he's always wanted to do. It's like, cool. From what I've heard, the only other movie he's directed wasn't very good. So I think he should stick to writing, because when his duties are split 50-50 between being a writer and being a director, I don't think he focused fully on either one of those things. And I think that maybe all that came of that was just him being able to slap his name on a Scream movie.
Perhaps.
As a director. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the film, though, I did some digging back into the other episodes of the podcast where we talked about Scream.
Oh, what our theories were before we watched the film?
I could have sworn I said something very specific that I'll get into. Obviously, again, spoilers for Scream 7 if we haven't already said that.
I think if you didn't know this now, then I think you're allowed to be spoiled.
Someone somewhere is going to go, "Oh, you didn't give a spoiler warning." We're going to be nitpicking the film. It's going to be incredibly specific spoilers. I went back and I could have sworn I had said something about what if Stu was AI. I think I said that.
I am positive you did.
I didn't.
Okay.
I did not when we were recording. I think I said it when we were, like, here, but I literally brought all of the raw footage into Resolve, hit the transcript thing, and searched I searched Stu, I searched AI, I searched Ghostface, and I did not say it on recording, but I could have sworn I said it. But
I definitely remember you saying it, so I feel like maybe it was an afterthought conversation after we recorded.
Yeah. But this is what I did say. And I'll say, well, you can say what you said too, but it's just I talked more about it, so you really only said one thing. But I said Stu could be alive, I guess, because we never really came back to his death. Like, you could argue that he was killed by the TV, but we don't know for sure. A cult of ghost faces that Stu was training would be cool, because it had originally said that Sydney moved to a cul-de-sac And so I thought a cult of ghost faces that like all purposely moved in to be her neighbors would be cool. Other ghost faces coming back that aren't back, but Stu is because of the writing. And this was something I forgot about until I went back to our discussions. Do you remember the first teaser of Scream 7 that came out of Matthew Lillard writing, "My mom and dad are going to be so mad at me"?
Yeah.
How relevant was that to the movie?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So I thought he's for sure back because we saw him writing that on a pad of paper.
Yeah. I mean, I knew in some form it couldn't have been obvious because you don't want to like give it away in your teaser.
No.
But it certainly was not anything what we were given in this film.
It was not footage from the movie. It had nothing to do with the ultimate plot line of either of the ghost faces or anything in the film except for the asylum connection, which did not specifically link Stu at all, and we'll talk about that. But I also completely fucking forgot about that because it came out and then they kind of buried it. And then we got the like proper teasers and trailers and everything. So I don't know if it was originally going to be more than it was, because allegedly, and again, we'll get more into this, they filmed an ending where Stu was still alive and test audiences didn't like it. So they reshot. Who knows if that's true? But I find it interesting looking back on this that I completely forgot about that piece of marketing until I remember we talked about it. The other point I said was maybe his voice is fucked up and he has a voice box that he's using as a voice changer.
Yeah.
And could make it sound like Ghostface. All of those ideas, by the way, put me in the writer's room because it's better than the schlock that we ended up with. And you said Stu's probably dead. Kevin Williamson might pull from some OG Scream script ideas.
Yeah. So, like, my original thoughts were it would be fucking awesome if they brought Stu back, but there's no way that they're fucking gonna think about that. You know? Like, I guess I, like, didn't have enough
faith.
Yeah, I didn't have enough faith that they would, like, make a really good next film. I think I always did have this kind of, and I think I do with any sequel, like late sequel to any franchise. Like sometimes a second film in a horror franchise can be really good.
I was gonna say any franchise. Like, Shrek 2 is amazing.
But usually once you start getting to the late numbers like this, you know, you're gonna start getting
cusping
iffy.
the double digits and you're like,
you're like, oh no.
There's gonna be a dip.
So for me, I was like, okay, like I can see them, because once they announced that Sydney was going to be back again, and, you know, now we're kind of down to just Sydney and just Gail. I was like, maybe the next one is going to really be focused around just them, and like maybe we've had Dewey killed, maybe Gail's next, and we're kind of really getting down to just like the final girl.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I thought it was gonna go. I was like, I would literally die and go to heaven if Stu came back as the killer.
I remember what I was gonna say now, and I'll interject before you keep going, just because I swear it's relevant. So we saw the movie before Jack and Harrison did. I had won tickets to see a free screening before we paid for the advanced fan screening, because there were no advanced screenings otherwise. Like, we saw it the day before it came out. And paid for those tickets. So the contest I won, I gave those tickets to Jack and Harrison so they could see it and not have to spend money on a movie that we didn't enjoy. It was so hard because obviously from the trailer we knew Matthew Lillard was back. In a way he was back. And I was so like, but Jack's like, but Matthew Lillard's in it. I'm like, yeah.
Sorry, it's just like the weirdest noise.
I heard that very clearly in my ear.
It's like the bubbles of the beer was like. Sorry,
that's okay. I was like, yeah, he's back. And he's like, so he's in the movie. I'm like, yeah,
but then by doing that, you're giving away literally the biggest part of it.
Well, but I didn't say. I was like, I can't tell you. I can tell you he's not in it very much, but. He's in it, because I can't say he's not in it. We know he's in it. But I was like, I can't tell you It was so hard because I was ranting to him when I got home for like an hour straight about how we didn't like it. And I was trying to be so vague about everything. I was like, I didn't like Stu, love Matthew Lillard, hated Stu in this movie.
Oh, see, I couldn't even talk about, so when I came home and talked to Harrison, he didn't want to know any spoilers. So like, I couldn't even say Stu. Like because we're at the point now where like we don't even watch trailers. So like I knew Harrison hadn't really watched the trailers. So I was like, okay, so he's trying really hard to like avoid like the story. And I kind of knew, so like going into it, but I'm like, okay, I'm not going to try and spoil it for him. But it was so hard to not express why this film was not good to me.
Yeah, it's much nicer to talk about it now that all four of us have seen it, because it was so hard to rant about it when only you and I had seen it. Because I was really carefully trying to be like, he's back, but not in the way I wanted him to be back. It was super disappointing. And then I was like, the opening kill was really fun, but it's the whole trailer. So you've basically seen it if you've watched the trailer and like all this stuff. And I was like trying to like, and I was like, some of the kills were cool, but they were so unnecessary. And I was just like, but I'm not going to tell you what they were or whose they were. It was just so like vague ranting. And I had to interject that it was hard for, to circle back to my point, it was hard for me to talk about Matthew Lillard in the movie without saying why I hated it so much.
Yeah. So I think like, honestly, we can just get right to it. Yeah, part of why it sucked is because once it's revealed he's in it, you get this clip of him on a phone, and it's honestly the worst thing I've ever seen.
Sydney.
You know what?
Like, I know, do a good Matthew Lillard.
I was so excited about him that like I forgave the shitty phone holding and the dad like using a full finger to press stop.
That was the only part of that I enjoyed. It was like he totally would be like,
oh, it was so badly shot though.
No,
like
I know,
that's not how a phone would look when you're doing a video call.
Okay, so my first point about just to continue with what you were saying about all of why that's bad looking and how it's shot and everything about it. They bring him back via AI. So it's not Stu. It's Stu, but it's not Stu. It's Matthew Lillard, but it's not Stu.
Yeah.
It's AI, you know? It's somebody else, but they look like Matthew Lillard.
The whole thing is that it's a deep fake.
It's a deep fake. That's not how deep fakes fucking work.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what pissed me off. My second plot hole point, if we're going in order, sort of, while we're on the topic of the AI generated stuff, they bring back, spoiler fucking waterfall here, Stu, Roman, and Mrs. Loomis and Dewey all come back via AI.
Yeah.
How in the fuck does AI generate older versions of all of these people?
Yeah.
AI, the way that deep fakes work, because they were also using AI and deep fakes interchangeably, which also, I'm sorry, similar. They're cousins, but they're not. One is not the other all the time, and vice versa. Deep fakes scan someone's likeness from usually or ideally a bunch of angles. They were doing it with the Star Wars films to bring back characters for continuity that had passed or were older. Mm-hmm. With this, you have to scan. There's a lot of guesswork in how that AI deepfaking would look if you do not have 360 scans of Mrs. Loomis, Stu Macher, fucking Roman Bridger, or Dewey. Because, no, I'm sorry, you don't have that tech man who worked at Google once, because that's relevant as a throwaway line.
You didn't really think it was Stu. No, because that'd be dumb. Stu's dead. See, I have a background in AI. I was a Google security specialist once upon a time.
They got 360 scans of someone's face in the 90s.
And then aged them up to look like what they might look like now from an extreme electrical damage to the face.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go the AI route or deep faking specifically, because AI is like it's a model, right? But like, I think we're at the point where it doesn't really need a 360. You can have someone just snap their fingers in a video and change between what actor they are, and it's pretty seamless and it looks pretty good. To to age project them to a point where they haven't existed at that age yet. It's usually they're younger or the age they are currently. And deep faking specifically relies on the multi-angle aspect of stuff.
Yeah.
So not only do you not have 360 scans of all these people, you do not know what the fuck they're going to look like now, but obviously they couldn't de-age all of these actors to the point that they were when they were previously in the franchise, especially not Matthew Lillard, because you need him to look like he might still be alive. So he can't look like what he looked like in the 90s.
No.
So the first frame of him showing up on Scream, I smiled because I was like, hey, it's Matthew Lillard. And we're not hating on him. I love Matthew Lillard, okay? He's Stu, he's Shaggy.
No, in a way, he still made the movie.
Yeah.
Even though it was also kind of the worst part about the movie.
Exactly. I was still happy to see him.
Yeah, I was like, at the same time, I still like don't care because he's iconic. But yeah.
But my brain immediately went to, this is definitely going to be an AI story point, and it already does not make sense.
Yeah.
It pissed me off so much. And I'm also going to quickly tangent into an AI thing that I was one of the things I double checked when it came on digital, because I was pretty sure I didn't want to ask Jack to look for it when they went to watch it, because I was like, it's a spoiler if I tell you the specific thing I want you to look for. We've talked about before on this podcast how there is a rule in movies and TV that if you are using an Apple product, you cannot be a character of moral question.
Yeah.
You have to be like someone that brand would be okay with them being associated with your technology. It's a thing. It's out there. It's very obvious when you know that and start looking for it. So there's a point in the film where, Tatum is Sydney's daughter. She's sort of set up to be the next Sydney. She's named Tatum after Tatum from the first movie, who died with Sydney's friend. Obviously, it's a classic thing in Scream. We're supposed to think it's the boyfriend. There's a scene where they leave a bar and there's a laptop open, like ajar, in his truck with him deep faking himself to look like Stu Macher, saying obscene things about Sydney Prescott.
Yeah.
1, why? 2, it's a fucking Apple laptop.
Yeah, it was
the worst red herring I've ever fucking seen in a movie.
Yeah, it was the worst scene because it didn't make sense.
Your daughter, and I'm gonna love every second of it.
Tatum, I can explain.
Why?
Explain what, though? And then we don't even get the explanation, which I actually might have liked to understand why he had that, because
the only explanation he gave was, I wanted to see if it was possible.
Yeah, it was not a very thought out red herring.
No, the Apple of it all pissed me off, because I was like, if you're going to go out of your way to make that, maybe it's just a fun tidbit, and we were all just so already up in arms about this movie that I was like, fuck your Apple laptop, because it's obviously not him as Ghostface, because you did that. Maybe it was just supposed to be a fun, like, this is an Easter egg, but if you know, and it's not him, whatever, maybe. But that's a deliberate choice of branding to put in that scene. Even like watching The Boys, like when they go and meet up with this one character, and I think it's the second episode, he's using a Dell laptop. It's very clearly a Dell laptop, because this person we are not meant to think is wholly a good person, especially once we find out what their superpower is, which I won't spoil. But once you know it's something to look for, I don't know, but that's why we did this job for a living for a bit. It's like, I noticed stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which makes that red herring almost should have just been on the cutting room floor. Because at that point, I don't think anyone is still thinking it's the boyfriend. To be honest, I kind of forgot he was even a fucking character.
Yeah, I think the thing that I didn't like the most about the movie was like the red herrings weren't great. But also then the reveal was even worse. So like if you're gonna have kind of bad red herrings, at least have good killers at the end.
And I will say, I think the red herrings for 5 and 6 were also bad.
Yeah.
But I think the reveals were better. Because even if that's a case where you're like, I kind of figured, this is kind of the opposite of that. We were like,
Yeah.
Who?
I've never in my life like watched a horror movie and went, wait, who the fuck was that again? Like, I've never actually had that moment. And when the first guy, in fact, I can't even tell you his name right now.
I don't even think I put it in the notes. I have Jessica and
Asylum dude.
the other guy who was in one scene.
I'm just going to call him Asylum Nurse.
Sure.
Asylum Nurse was the first killer. And I'm like, where did this come from? We had pretty much zero scenes with him. There's one scene where he tells us about John Doe, which we're led to maybe think, oh, could it be Stu? Could Stu
really
have come back?
thread that through the whole
movie. He just had
movie.
amnesia and like didn't really remember. So I'm going to go into my little like rant for a second here on what I thought it was supposed to be. Was in that moment when we get who's actual killer, this asylum dude, when he gives us this story, you know, because we had seen the AI clip and we're thinking, okay, shit, is this movie going that route? I had a fraction of hope in that scene when he says, and when they show the photo, and he's like, oh, that's John Doe. Mm-hmm. That's our John Doe. And it was like, oh my God, are they going to have Stu? And what I really wanted was for, in some form or way, Stu, if he had amnesia and didn't remember that he was actually a serial killer before, that someone snatched him up and utilized his like vulnerability to then create him into a monster again.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been such a good way of like forming his story again, and to bring him back is like the first time when they ask him, Stu, what's your motive? And he's like, well, I don't know. Like, there's no real motive there. And then
I would say peer pressure, but I don't know what I'm being pressured to do or something.
Exactly. So, like, this time, it would have been even funnier if, like, the motive again was, like, peer pressure. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here.
They
like,
should have put more camp back into this one. It was severely missing that.
Missing the camp. The only campy moment we got was Gail running over the first Scream guy.
See, I know Carl's name, but not fucking Asylum guy. Probably because they call him Carl multiple times.
Yeah, in the coffee shop too.
I was going to say the only camp we had was Anna Camp, but...
Oh, that's a good one. Gail, sorry, I ruined your joke, Claire.
That's okay.
But true, that's, and I feel bad because I do think her performance at the end, when she's revealed as the second killer, her performance was good. I gotta hand it to her that she tried to give it her all, but like there was not enough in the script to give her a good enough motive.
I have information to fill in about exactly what you just said, and I think I sent you to this interview. She
I saw it.
Has produced some of her own stuff before. She's not a producer on Scream, which she should probably be very happy about. She went to Kevin Williamson after reading the script and was like, I think my character needs at least one more scene, which apparently Ethan Embry did not do for his character because he still only got one scene before his reveal. But Anna Camp literally had to go to Kevin Williamson and say, I don't have enough of a character beyond I'm crazy.
Yeah, but beyond I'm the neighbor.
Yeah, beyond I'm the neighbor and my son hangs out with your kid.
Yeah.
Because we're neighbors.
Yeah.
And then the scene they added, so the only scene that was in there was Sydney and her talking at the coffee shop about how Anna Camp's character, Jessica, left her abusive ex-boyfriend and they moved here, her and her son, played by Asa German from Gen V. And then she went to him and said, I think I need at least one more scene in here so at least people remember who I am. I'm paraphrasing. People can find, the interview is circulating right now, so you can very easily find what she actually says. I'm trying to paraphrase for sake of making a point. But she had to ask for that.
Yeah, it's
because her character even still feels that way. But imagine if she hadn't gotten that extra scene. And the extra scene was just her coming up to Sydney after the Ghostface house fight.
She's just kind of
saying,
talking
stay away
about
from
her
my son.
ex.
Yeah.
And her past relationship. We get a little bit more into it. But
and it's just set up her son being still obsessed with stuff.
Yeah. But like, how shocking is it that she literally had to ask for an extra scene, but had they not even put that in, we would have had the first killer have one scene and the second killer have one scene.
And the fake out killer also have one scene. Because his only scene that he was in, Carl, the Ghostface that gets run over by Gale halfway through the movie, he's an not escaped. Ethan Embry's character helps him escape the asylum so he can be used as a patsy for their Ghostface stuff. That's the connection with Carl. He's getting a coffee from Sydney's coffee shop in the beginning of the movie in the same scene that Jessica's there with her son, and that's the first scene we see her in too. So technically, Carl's first and only scene and Jessica's first and only scene would have been the same scene. If they had not given her a second scene, because Carl's second scene is when he's dead on the asphalt.
Yeah, it's awful.
I had to come into that scene with it so emotionally filled with things that I had to create on my own because there was really nothing there in the script for me to draw on.
I'm not going to say it was a smart choice. It's a ballsy choice for sure to be talking so openly about your dislike for the way your character was created because she was a big character. She is a big character because she's a Ghostface.
Yeah.
And to openly say, like, I didn't have much of a character until I had to talk to Kevin Williamson, the original writer and now director of this new installment. She had to literally say, I need to make more of a character because she can ham it up in the last scene all she wants. And she did. And she played crazy really well. And I didn't not believe her character. It was just that I agree with her. Even with that extra scene, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, because I think the thing is like, we've had other Scream films where like the person who ends up being Ghostface may not have as much scream time. As much scream time.
The character didn't have a lot of scream time, if
Love
you
it.
know what I'm talking about.
That's the new thing.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, they just like, we've had other instances. Like, you know, I can think of even with, I think there were a couple scenes.
The thing with that, though, is her character has enough motivation being the mom of Billy Loomis.
Yeah, that was going to be my point,
Yeah.
was that it was, at least there is a backed motivation that is directly linked.
Yeah, we have context already. We don't need that person to be throughout the entire film because then it's a fun, like, oh, was that person? But you can't set up... I'm going to contradict myself with the way I'm explaining this, but I think it'll still make sense. You can't set up a character in one movie, have them be in one scene, and then have it be a satisfying reveal unless there's a pre-existing connection for it to be a big enough reveal that you're like, oh, it all connects together.
Yeah.
If you're entirely new and have no connection to fucking anything that came before it, it's just lazy writing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only connection is a book that Sydney wrote that
she was obsessed with, because the whole thing this time is it's not connected to Stab. She was a fan of Sydney and her book.
Yeah. And you know, I guess it's like technically connecting it, but for me, we never really got any context to the book.
They don't talk about it after 4.
Yeah. There's no real like dive into Sydney's kind of,
you know, it would have been more
experience.
interesting, and they wouldn't have done this because it wouldn't have focused as much on Nev Campbell. It would have made more sense for the book connection to be with Gale.
Yeah.
Because they talk so much about the fact that Gale capitalizes on the Woodsboro killings. Well, I guess the Ghostface killings, only in the first one was in, well, the first and 5 were in, you know what I mean? They're not all in Woodsboro. But it would have made more sense for that to be a book tie-in if you're going to go that route. You could have someone maybe idolize Sydney and her persistence and whatever, but if you're going to go the book route, we barely talk about Sydney having a book past. It's a central plot point to Scream 4, and then that's kind of it. Because we deviate away from even Sydney in 5 and 6. So if you're going to come back to that, at least have her have a box of her books in her house that she has in her attic that maybe Tatum finds when she grabs her jacket from earlier, and then Sydney gets all upset seeing Tatum wearing her old leather jacket, and maybe Tatum says something like, "Oh, I found a box of your old books up there too. Like, why are you keeping this from me?" or something. Like, bring the book back into the story before you have the reveal be that Jessica was obsessed with Sydney and her book and all of that stuff.
Editing room Lisa here, popping in to say that this is the end of part 1 of our discussion of Scream 7, so stick around for part 2 and hope you're enjoying the conversation so far.
Quality Control Chicks podcast is produced and co-hosted by Lisa Cumming
and Janae Perez.
Audio mix and master by Jack Rudy.
You can follow us on Instagram at Quality Control Chicks Pod for BTS, bonus content, and clips.
You can give us a watch or listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to your favorite shows.